Hi there, I'm Martha Ivester, Head of Marketing for Northern Europe at Google. I hope this finds you and your loved ones safe and well. These are unprecedented times, and the coronavirus continues to be top of mind for everyone, with many of us now being asked to stay home by our local governments. For 21 years, Google's mission has been to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Helping people get the right information to stay healthy is more important than ever in the face of a global pandemic. In particular, we're focused on helping our users find the right useful information and protecting them from misinformation. This includes providing useful, relevant ads while ensuring advertisers are not taking advantage of the pandemic. For example, we do not allow ads for face masks. We're also focused on enabling productivity for remote workers and students, and supporting relief efforts and government organizations. We filmed this video series before the wide-scale spread of the coronavirus, and we thought long and hard about whether this is the right time to launch. These days are not business as usual. However, for lots of businesses, these trainings come at a crucial time, a time when they are striving to be precise, useful, and relevant to their customers. We have heard from many of you that you want these sessions to go ahead, so we have decided to proceed with Learn from Home Week, and we hope you are able to watch at home. Please know that we are here if you need us. Stay safe, and we wish you well.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Learn from Home Week, an all-you-can-learn video series where we are covering a wide range of different Google products and solutions. Today's session will be about measurement, and more specifically about identifying and activating customer lifetime value. My name is Tika. I work as a measurement specialist for the Central European market, and I'll be your host for today's session. Here is an overview of the other topics that we are covering during the Learn from Home Week. Tomorrow, we have another day with interesting topics, such as planning your marketing budgets with Performance Planner and optimizing your shopping ads beyond ROAS. You can also watch the recordings of our previous episodes here on our platform. But today... Hi, good afternoon everyone, welcome back. My name is Tika, and you might have seen me in the previous live stream talking about measurement and attribution. And here I am again during our Expert Academy live stream series. Today I am here with Christoph, who is going to talk about lifetime value. A very interesting topic, if I may say. He's not going to do that all alone. He's also with Pavel on the line, who is based in Prague, and I'll introduce him shortly. But before I do that, I just want to remind you that during this session, there will be time to ask questions to our speakers. You can do that in the box on the right of the stream. You can ask all your questions, and Christoph and Pavel will be there to respond to all your questions. And also after this session, there will be a pop-up for allowing you to give some feedback to us, which we always appreciate a lot. And for now, I would just say enjoy this session about lifetime value. I think it's very interesting because we always try to target the most important customers. And Christoph and Pavel are very specialized in this topic. Christoph is the regional product lead. And he is very specialized in data activation. And Pavel is an analytical consultant who just finished his PhD actually on this topic of lifetime value. He is based in Prague, so he's dialing in. And I really want to welcome Pavel to this live stream. Welcome, Pavel, and do your thing.
Hello. Our goal of today is to explore with you what customer lifetime value is, showcase what can be done with it when using Google solutions, and finally demonstrate how lifetime value can be activated in your digital marketing. Let me at the beginning start with a story of imagining that you own a cafe. And in that case, you want definitely to acquire new customers. You can hire somebody who could go outside and invite people to the cafe. But it will not take you a long time until you realize that you don't want to pay the promoter for every entrant that there is, but that it will be better for you if you can pay variable fee per the sales such entrants generate. However, you will soon also realize that not every revenue is the same for you, as I assume you have different profitability or cappuccino and tea or soft drinks, and hopefully you could instruct the promoter to look for such entrants that could have the highest possibility or probability to generate you the largest margin. And this resembles me of the digital marketing, where to sum it up, this is the very same situation that is happening when you are thinking about the KPIs of your marketing campaigns, isn't it? So let's explore this at the beginning. You now probably recognize then when I explore these kinds of steps of my stairway of performance KPIs that this is very resembling the cafe story, and each step is tied to a specific KPI. At the beginning, paying for entrance was the CPA, where I didn't care about any value. Then I moved to orange steps here that meant for me the sales or revenues, and I was trying to optimize towards the ROAS. That you might find that there is a difference between the psychology of trying to minimize the costs for this revenue, or you can be optimistic and trying to maximize the revenue that you're generating given such investments. But still, this is the step before understanding the profit, where the profitability was not only important to me, but it was important also for the optimization of the return of investments in total. What I haven't demonstrated in the cafe story was the ultimate holy grail of this stairway, where we are interested in finding those customers who could be loyal to your brand and bring you some sustainable long-term profit. And I would like to call this as an analogy of two main reasons where the higher steps can be helpful for your business. One part is where it helps you to better allocate your resources based on the customer value. So you try to align your investments and also the marketing activities to the expected value in order not to overinvest in lower value customers. Finally, the higher you are on the staircase, the greatest should be the benefits for the business because you're closer to the bottom line. So on this slide, let me explain each step here. You might be in a situation where the company knows that there is a vast difference among the value of customers. But if you are a siloed organization and the business intelligence department doesn't speak to your marketing department, this doesn't yield any value. Whereas where you are able to connect the dots and let's say bring a profitability and report it on a campaign level, this is already where the reporting starts getting useful and will be only accelerated where you are able to perform some modifications of your campaigns. It could be a weekly or monthly level of, let's say, changing the bids, changing the creatives, given the value that you're getting, and it's still a very good step. For us here, the Holy Grail is, again, the automatic part where you are able to connect the business value you're getting from your customers with the right marketing KPIs. And this is what we will focus on later throughout the live stream, and also what we can demonstrate by the case study of Lyft, who published a very nice piece where they were able to find what lifetime value meant for them and how they could differentiate the quality of acquisitions. With that information, it's a very good read that they use currently the automatic bidding strategies, and they are allocating budget to support those campaigns that are bringing the highest returns. And this is exactly what we are finding as well. And what we should now focus on is the fundament of how this can be possible, how this can be done. And let's start with the understanding of how different customers are different for your business and what it brings you to. I'm pretty sure that you all have heard about Pareto principle. I'd be curious to know how many of you know what is it the ratio for your business. And if you want to find out, let's see what data you need. At the beginning, you need a historical data of revenue or better profit for each and every customer. Can you get this data? Because if you can, then it might help you to construct the Parto chart that is trying to sort those customers that are bringing you the highest profit to the left side, and then also to differentiate those customers that are not giving you any marginal value, or as you can see by the red color, who are contributing a loss in your case. And this can help you and this can inform you of two things. First thing is how dependent you are on few percentage of customers. And secondly, if there are any customers who are not really that valuable to you according to your expectations, which doesn't need to mean a bad thing at the beginning, but you need to know the situation, and you also like to know what can be done with it. When I was doing my dissertation thesis, I had the possibility to analyze customer bases of some 10 Central European e-commerce companies, and I constructed this kind of benchmark where the Pareto chart is depicted for these 10 data sets. And you can see how different is the range of top 10% of their customers. It ranges from 35% to 60%. And that's a lot, isn't it? And I think that there are many ways how you can get some insights from this value, from this chart, and also how you can act on it with some marketing tactics. Because I'm pretty sure you can imagine what would you like to do with group number one that is consisting of you with the few customers that are contributing quite a lot to your business, to your bottom line, and you basically want to find out how these customers were acquired and how you can find similar as valuable users as these are. With the group number two, you definitely want to increase the purchase frequency of those customers. And with group number three, you don't necessarily need to reduce these customers and get rid of them at the beginning if you can only find out that there is some substitutable value that these customers might be giving you. And this is one type of a technique that you might use. Now, what we are going to dive into is how to model the value of each and every customer. For that, let's imagine that you have 4 customers with the full historical record of their transactions. And this is the type of data that the Pareto chart was based on. But now we would be not that much interested in the historical data. But as you are here to hear about the customer lifetime value, you are definitely more interested in finding out the predictions of what can follow in either the short term, or that could be days or months after the user acquisition, or in the long term, which could be units of months or even years. And here, what I need to put into perspective is that there are several techniques that are really useful even in the descriptive phase. And one of them was the Pareto chart. Additional one could be the RFM modeling that you have probably heard of, that consists of 3 factors that should help you to find out segments that are important for your business, as based on the recency, about the number of days since the last purchase of that customer, frequency with the number of transactions that historically happened, and with the value that you can count with in your cashier. But as we are not that much interested in the historical data, and we look forward into the predictive part, let's find out what could be the models here that can either help you with finding out what could be the monetary value or what could be the segment or the classification to segments of customer values. And this is what we now need to differentiate, as these types of models do differ based on the business settings. There are two main business settings available or happening throughout the business world. One is the contractual settings, where you can be sure that you have a certain contract or certain obligation from the customer that she would pay you some value each and every month or day or year. And this is quite easy situation, I would call, because you can count with that value only when you don't hear about any change, like abandonment of that contract or some switching to a different fee that the user is paying. On the other side, there are non-contractual businesses. I would think that this is a majority of the businesses who is now connected to the live stream. And this is the typical behavior where you don't know when a user is going to be alive again, how many transactions you can count from that user, and what would be the value. But there are certain techniques that might help you with finding out the value. One is the cohort analysis. That's really useful when you are able to depict how customers are evolving throughout time, given the date when they were acquired. So here you can see on a quarterly basis how many revenue customers acquired in each of the quarters of 2016 to 2018 generated, and what followed afterwards. So let's say for a group of customers from Q4 2017 who generated 25 million euro at the beginning, we can see additional 5 million the next quarter, 4 million the next quarter, and 1.1 million 3 quarters after the user acquisition. And these are additional 11 million in total that you really didn't see within the first quarter, within the quarter when these customers were acquired. And you don't only need to calculate this on the nominal basis, but you can also use some relative numbers that can help you out in finding out throughout the time how your business is developing, whether you have a higher percentage or lower percentage of revenue that you see after the first quarter, or you can also count with the value that is happening, let's say, half a year after the user is acquired. And this is basically a quick check for you if you're going in the right direction, if this is the great quality of users that you can count with. And this is one technique that might be helpful. Additional one could be a statistical model. And this is mainly useful for the non-contractual basis, non-contractual business settings, where you really don't know what to expect, but you have certain data. At least you can count with the transactional data set that we described earlier. And there are some golden standard of models that are called a buy till you die family. One of the representatives here is the combination of Pareto distribution and negative binomial distribution that has been developed since 1980s. And this is basically a model that helps you to find out the probability whether the customer is going to be alive in the next time horizon, what could be the number of transactions, and from that, what could be the value, really the monetary value that you can expect from that customers. And you can also use that for some classification into some segments. Let's say it could be a tier of your top 10% of customers. And there are certain statistical tools that might help you with it, but also there are certain platforms that we as Google develop to help you with finding out the values. And this only means that you don't need to work with dozens of data scientists and engineers. And one of the tools that might be helpful for you is called CRM Int. This is an open source platform that is helping you to create some predictive models. There are certain algorithms initially provided, like RFM or for the customer value segments. And the tool also helps you to connect the data with Google Analytics and Google Ads in order to really start activating the data. Please follow the GitHub link for instructions how to set it up. And now that we have the data, let me invite Christoph on the stage in order to follow up on the practical activation tasks now that we are in the situation that we have the data ready and we can see what can be done with it. So over to you, Chris.
All right, well, thank you, Pavel, for giving us such clear insights on how we can create these models, especially if we keep in mind that 80% of our revenue comes actually from 20% of our top customers. That was insightful for me. I think now it's also very important to have a look at how we can actually activate this data when we have measured it, when we have it in place. What can we do with it? And Christoph, I think you have prepared something that explains this really well.
Definitely. Hi everyone, thank you for dialing in. I know you're extremely busy, so thank you for taking your time. And also thank you, Pavel, for your introduction. So we are now going to talk about activation of customer lifetime value. And we are basically going to do that always in 3 steps. So my goal is that you understand how you can adapt your marketing tactics based on the customer lifetime value you calculated before. And Pavel explained you how you can actually do that. So what we do is basically we always follow a process where we first talk about the data. Here we just heard that, for instance, 20% of top customers are normally responsible for 80% of revenue. That's true in a lot of cases. We see that often. So when you have your data ready, it's time for integration. And that simply means we have to make our CRM system or your CRM system or your data warehouse talk to our properties. So that means simply connecting a CRM system such as Salesforce to Google Ads or Google Analytics. And then in the last step, we obviously want to change your marketing tactics. And here we are going to talk about customer acquisition, which means you want to find more customers that are similar to your best customers. Or part 2 you can actually follow when you want to activate customer lifetime value is retain. And that means you know your best customers and you want to retain them and grow them. So these are the 3 steps we're going to follow. And by doing so, we will always come back to our stairway of heaven of performance marketing. The stairway is basically the what. So our goal would be that you try to achieve these green steps, which is basically profit data or long-term profits, customer lifetime value. And then in a second step, you have to integrate the data, which is our how. And here our recommendation is that you move slowly from calculating customer lifetime value, so part 1 from Pavel, over to simply reporting on customer lifetime value, so aligning internally with stakeholders, then moving over to manual optimization, which means changing campaigns, changing budgets, and then to slowly approach automatic optimization, which is basically like the holy grail of performance marketing, automatic optimization towards customer lifetime value, but it's also the most advanced thing you can do. Only a few customers have nailed it, I would say. And I would actually recommend that you, for instance, focus heavily on the reporting or manual optimization phase, because that's where you can create positive performance uplifts for you in the short term. So first we're going to do a very short excursus, and we're not going to jump directly into profit or customer lifetime value. We're actually going to take one step back and talk about profit data. So activating profit data can already bring huge performance uplift for a lot of customers. And what we do here is basically, we first have a look at the business KPIs. So all of your companies are very unique. You have very different KPIs. You're reporting on different numbers. So you can either be interested in the lifetime value and increasing your profit. Maybe you're a startup, you're in a growth phase, so you maybe want to increase revenue or amount of leads. So in our example here, we focus on profit values. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about our products and your data inputs. Because where you as an advertiser can actually differentiate from your competitors is when you link your data inputs on the left to your business KPIs on the right, which means that most of you right now most likely have revenue data in your account, but some of you are maybe interested in profit data. So that's a mismatch. In the future, you should ideally upload profit values if you're optimizing towards profit as a business KPI. And then all these other signals we see there, like context signals, so time, geo, device, or Google signals, which are exclusive to us, like the search query, the bidding strategy. These are basically all commodities, so they're available to all advertisers. You won't make a difference if you just focus on these. You make a difference when you connect your business KPI to your data inputs. What are data inputs? That's basically sales data. So simply what kind of numbers do you show in your Google Ads account? And second, audience data. So basically your CRM system. You can connect both and then based on that, adapt your marketing tactics. So that's very theoretical. We also have an amazing case from one of our colleagues with Otto. Otto is one of the most advanced companies when it comes to data-driven marketing in Germany. It's a company that is competing with one of the biggest players in the field in e-commerce. So they had to become more data-driven in the past, but they had always one issue, which was that as a company, they were actually driving, or as a marketing team, towards profit values. Some companies also have third-party attribution logics. So that hindered Otto always to leverage our smart bidding products. What our team did in that case was they simply leveraged a product which is called offline conversion import, which allows you to connect your business KPI, your profit, to your data inputs by uploading profit values. And then they were training smart bidding, so our target return on ad spend strategy based on that. And by doing so, they were able to achieve more profitable acquisitions. And the results on the right, you can see plus 43% higher profits on selected campaigns, or plus 12% in return on ad spend.
Yeah, and I'm not sure here if you're going to deep dive into the conversion import more, but in case you're not, there are some resources that I shared earlier as well on how to do conversion import. And for all of you viewers, we will have resources to send out to you where it's explained also in further detail how you can import data from other tools into Google Ads and bid towards that.
Perfect. So simply summarize, what do? You just exchange numbers in your Google Ads accounts, for instance. Yeah. So before you had gross revenue numbers, then you upload profit numbers. That's your business goal. So our products are going to work much better than before.
Nice.
So after that short excursus, we are going over to activating customer value. We are still going to not focus on the holy grail. We are first going to talk about historical customer values. Pavel was explaining the difference in his part when he made the difference between description and prediction. So we are still in the description part. And what I want to present here is that we're actually, as Google, already working on products that make these kinds of data values available in your account. So we have 3 phases. We already successfully integrated phase 1. What most of you will already have available in your account is simple reporting and targeting based on customer lifetime value. That's a feature called customer value reporting in Google Ads, and that basically breaks out 3 segments of customers into high, medium, and low. I'm going to show a screenshot afterwards. And then in the future, we are moving towards more complex solutions. So our goal is, of course, that you move from reporting over to activation, which means, for instance, setting bid adjustments for certain audience lists. And then ideally, phase 3, the holy grail, is that you use predicted values to bid towards these. But again, focus for right now is on phase 1. And that feature is available in Google Ads. It's called Customer Value Reporting. Please check with your account manager if it's available, because it's depending on some technical requirements. And basically what you see here on the left is that you can go under measurement and then you can activate the feature. And basically that breaks out your customer base in 3 segments, and then you will be able to see which campaigns basically bring a certain amount of high value customers, medium value customers, or low value customers. And I guess that's already a good insight for most customers.
Yeah.
That data is based on the past 12 months. And then on the right, we have a different feature which you can also activate. That's called lifetime value reports in Google Analytics. The difference here that that's only based on the past 90 days. So please keep in mind that if you are maybe a business that doesn't have such a high purchase frequency, 90 days might be a very or quite short period.
Yeah. Do you see specific subsectors where there's often a longer path towards purchase?
Yeah, I would say companies who are, of course, selling high value products. Also retailers, I would say it's depending on what kind of products they're selling.
Yeah.
On the other side, we have companies like mobility companies, where someone is purchasing or booking a service maybe once per month. So everything that is more like a subscription service where you have more touch points and data points.
So in that situation, Google Ads would be the best thing to go for. Okay.
Definitely. So please discuss it with your account manager and check if it's available in your account. Again, it's depending on some technical requirements. So now we are moving towards a more interesting, very exciting part, which is activating customer lifetime value. And that's basically where Pavel made his PhD in, and calculating, creating models for these customer lifetime values. And again, we are going to follow our integration metrics. So we are moving over from simple reporting to optimization to automatic optimization. And our recommendation would be to not immediately start with automatic optimization, because that's the holy grail. Rather focus on reporting and manual, get some results, share these internally in your business, and then move on to more complex parts. So reporting customer lifetime value. Reporting sounds always a bit boring. No one wants to do it, but it's very important, I would say. And there are very, very simple workarounds you can do. So our first recommendation would be that you integrate customer lifetime value as a metric for your reporting internally. And based on that, you can already adjust your marketing techniques. So a good reporting looks like that you're integrated already in metrics like average order value or purchase frequency. So you know how often the customer is buying, and you may be predicting that. You report on it on a monthly basis, and based on that, you can, for instance, shift budgets between certain campaigns. So a campaign with a relatively low impression share, which is bringing you high value customers, would be a campaign, for instance, where we might increase budget and also increase targets. Our recommendation here would be that you move from good reporting to very good reporting. That means you start integrating forward-looking values, prediction values, customer lifetime value, and that would basically allow you to increase impression share on a bi-weekly basis, which would give you a competitive advantage versus your competitors. And that would deliver you basically more of your top customers. How can you do that? Most important question. There are different ways to go, but simply have a look into what we call auto-tagging, UTM parameters, Google Analytics, or third-party tools, and just start discussing these kind of metrics with your BI team internally, and you will already get good results out of it, I would say. And now we're moving over to manual optimization towards customer lifetime value, which means we are integrating some kind of data, but we are not using all of our automated product solutions, which is actually recommended. So it's still some kind of workaround. And one example I brought here is from a customer who's a lead generation advertiser, and that customer was basically resegmenting keywords based on customer lifetime value. So in the past, we had one campaign with different ad groups. One ad group would have been limo service, the next one personal driver and transportation. So these are all keywords. And then we had a custom lifetime value after 30 days. So a limo service would have a high lifetime value, whereas personal driver and transportation only would deliver medium lifetime value. Then lifetime value predictions get better over time in that case, just because we have more data points, as Pavel explained before. So in that case, after 90 days, the first two would deliver a lot of customers with a high lifetime value, whereas transportation would deliver customers with a low lifetime value. So what can we do in that case is we can unfortunately not optimize towards these values with smart bidding, just because of the long conversion delay. So even 30 days wouldn't meet our smart bidding requirements, 90 days definitely not. So our recommendation here wouldn't be to optimize towards it. But what you can do is what we call manual optimization of your account. You can simply split up that one campaign in one campaign for high lifetime value keywords, and you assign 80% of budget to that. You set a higher target, so you get more volume. And transportation would be grouped in a distinct campaign. It would only get 20% of budget and would get its own target.
Yeah, and you have to find 3 categories here, but is it also possible to make more categories of your customers or keywords?
Yeah, definitely. So we had customers who basically did that for all search queries and then regrouped the entire account. It's important to note that you are still not on a single user basis here. So you are still averaging based on campaigns or keywords, but I would say it's still better than treating all keywords in the same way.
Same way, yeah. Okay.
So that's one example. Simply analyze offline what kind of lifetime value your keywords are driving, and then regroup campaigns, assign budgets. The next step would be some kind of integration via what we call offline conversion import. So that's the auto case you've seen before. And here we have an example where our customer is not integrating profit values. He's actually integrating customer lifetime values, which is the first yellow column. What you can do afterwards is when you're integrating that kind of data is you can basically calculate or create a new custom column. And that custom column will help you as someone in marketing to basically see a forward-looking number for each campaign. So right now, you would most likely just see the white part, which would be conversions. So you would see that non-brand campaign 1 has brought 15 conversions and the branded campaign 20 conversions. What you would see in the future is, for instance, customer lifetime value. So in that case, we would see that the branded campaign brought a much higher lifetime value. So it might make sense to shift budgets towards that campaign or even expand that campaign by adding new keywords. So that's a very simple differentiation you can already make when it comes to manual optimization. Now we're moving towards the holy grail, which is automatic optimization, and the most exciting part where everyone wants to start immediately. But again, maybe have a look if you find some use cases of these examples before. So when it comes to automatic optimization, again, you simply want to link your business goals on the right to your data inputs. You can do that by adding sales data, so by exchanging numbers, conversion numbers in your account, or by audience data. So I'm going to talk you through an example for an audience case, and our key product here would be customer match. So we are now going to pick up where Pavel basically left us after his first part. You calculated the customer lifetime value on a single user basis. And on the left, we are starting off. So you basically know your top 20% of customers. What you then can do is you can upload these customers to Google Ads in that case via customer match. And then we are translating that list into an audience list, and we're going to make it available on search, YouTube, and Gmail. And then in the future, you can simply customize your creatives for customers on that audience list. And even more exciting, and that's where the retention piece comes in, you can also create a so-called similar audience based on your top 20% customers. And in that case, our machine learning would simply analyze your top 20%, see what these kind of customers have in common. So when do they've been to your website, which age group are they, what did they search for, and then we search for people who are similar to your top 20%.
Yeah, I guess that this is then the best way to generate new people. Like, you do not retarget clients that already know your brand, but if you want to create more awareness, then you can reach a lot of new customers by doing this.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's also the differentiation between acquire and retain. The upper part is about the acquiring customers, and then the lower part would also be more about retention, basically. Then in the next part, we could also simply upload such a top 20% list, and that would allow you to use a feature we call Audience Finder. Here in our case, we just uploaded a top 20% list, and then you would see what kind of demographics or interests your top 20% have in common. And that can be extremely helpful by simply understanding your audience list better. You can also shift budget towards certain geographical areas. You can add bid adjustments for certain age groups. So all of these kind of features. And that's extremely exciting, is when you actually add these audience lists to your existing campaigns. That's the case from SoloPress, who calculated predicted lifetime value audiences offline, uploaded these, and then added these audience lists via customer match to search and shopping. And again, the results have been great. So we have seen a much higher return on ad spend for these higher lifetime value lists. And also the conversion rate is, of course, much higher. So we're actually seeing proof points, and that allows you then to acquire more customers like your top 20%, or to retain customers who are your top 20%. So again, just a differentiation between acquire and retain. Acquire is basically that you upload customer match audience lists, and then, for instance, these audience lists allow you to have a higher conversion rate, a higher click-through rate, if you're interested in traffic. For retain, you could also use a so-called if function feature, which would simply allow you to show a different ad depending on an audience list. So here we simply see an example where a customer is giving a 10% discount code to his top 20%. And we all know that we like discount codes. So in that case, you are giving out a special offer basically to your best customer. So in general, smart bidding works better when you add more audience lists, acquire, retain. Top 20% audience lists allow you to personalize your ads. You can go even further. It allows you to personalize landing pages. You can become even more advanced and do bundling, so offer certain products and so on. So a lot of interesting stuff is possible out there.
So you basically would say, if the audience meets up to this expectation, then we would return this ad.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
And then you offer, for instance, 10%, or sometimes just having a unique ad which makes sometimes a person smile or feeling welcome to a website can make a simple difference, because it's all about building a connection with your customer. I think we all know that from like services we use on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's a great way to make it a bit more personalized.
Definitely.
As well.
Definitely. So that has been basically our stairway of heaven, focused on profit data and customer lifetime value. We moved over time from simple reporting on customer lifetime value to manual optimization to automatic optimization. So it's time for a very short summary part on these marketing techniques. And again, I can't stress it enough, simply focus on acquisition or retention. My recommendation would be first, all of you should start reporting on customer lifetime value. Pavel explained in his first part how you can use open source models to calculate these values. Start discussing these kind of values and KPIs internally, and then simply adjust your marketing techniques. When it comes to acquire, we basically are focused on finding more customers like your best customers. So your solutions here would be smart bidding and audiences. You can then adjust your bids, budgets, keywords. You can also add personalization. And on a more detailed level, the products used here would be smart bidding, so target ROAS, imported conversion values, or customer match and similar audiences. And then on the right, if you're more interested in that, that would be retain and grow. So here you already know your best customers. So you want to re-engage with these customers. And your main solution would be here audiences. And again, on a more tactical level, you can adjust bids, budgets, and add personalization. And the products you're using here would be customer match and remarketing lists. That has been everything on the part 2 on acquisition. Thank you very much from my side for tuning in.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for inviting us too.
Sure. If I may just use this last minute to ask you one question, because you mentioned there's open sources available to create these models, which makes it quite easy. Well, maybe it's not easy, but there's the tools available that make it possible for every client to create a model like this. But what is still a reason why clients would have difficulties creating a model like this? Is there like an often used reason why it doesn't work?
Yeah. So I would say that the issue most often is more the database. So a customer would need somehow an organized CM system.
Yeah.
But then again, it's not extremely complex. So we simply need a customer ID, transaction date, and the value over around 2 years. And then you can start using these open source codes.
Yeah.
So everyone can actually start using these open source codes, work together with BI and analytics, and then do a simple analysis and understand customer lifetime value offline.
Great. I think you gave us very many tools today that help us creating models such as lifetime value and optimize towards this. Pavel as well, thank you so much for presenting that today. It's very helpful, very insightful. So for those of you who are still here with us, Christoph and Pavel will be available for some more questions if you have those in the chat. They will respond to you in the chat as well. And you might have already seen a feedback pop up on the right that asks you to give some feedback to our great speakers. So if you have time for that, that would be super helpful as well. Thank you for listening. We will be sticking around for another 20 minutes. So if you're watching us live, feel free to continue posting any questions you have about the content here in the chat box under the player. Tomorrow we have another day with interesting topics, such as planning your marketing budgets with Performance Planner and optimizing your shopping ads beyond ROAS. And you can also watch our previous episodes here on our platform. Again, please share your feedback if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching and hope to see you tomorrow.